This is the Real Estate Investing 365 podcast, your go-to source for real estate investing strategies so you can start living the life you want and get where you want to go. With your host, Justin Hanna.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of Real Estate Investing 365. It's been a little while, a couple weeks since my last episode have come out. So this is what you guys have been waiting for, the highly anticipated Arvi and Dave from Ace Homes in Nashville, Tennessee. What's up, guys? Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having us. Excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Arvi and Dave are a couple that does real estate together, which is probably a feat in and of itself. My wife isn't really involved in the real estate business with me. She kind of supports me, but maybe it's my bad leadership skills that maybe we wouldn't get along. So I commend you guys for successfully navigating the waters. That's pretty cool.
We weren't always successful at it. You know, when we started, there was definitely like issues and learning lessons and things of that nature. So
okay, yeah, I would imagine. Did you guys kind of decide to have each one of you have like a specific role? Like Arvi, you do one thing, Dave, you do another, and then you kind of stay in your lanes?
Yeah, in the beginning there wasn't. In the beginning is we do everything together, and we kind of butt heads that way a lot.
Yeah.
So at that point we finally realized that we need to separate and give everybody a certain role.
Right.
Yeah, I would imagine, because probably the type of person that gets into like doing their own real estate business, kind of always type A personalities. You kind of both think you're right. You're like, no, like this is the price, or no, I don't want to spend it. And so, yeah, it's being able to stick to your guys' roles, I'm sure, is like a learning curve also. So that's cool. It's good to have a team. That's what they always say, right? Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone's like, you need a good mate to grow your business successfully. So that's cool. But why don't you guys tell us a little bit about who you are, where you came from, what each one of you did before real estate, and then why you guys got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Arvi Karkanji. I got involved in real estate about 2 years ago. I was actually living up in Buffalo, New York before moving to Nashville. Pretty much right out of college. So I pulled Dave in after I'd say 6 months or so, and he'll tell a little bit about it himself. But we kind of been full-time ever since, and just went from, barely making it to, this year we actually grossed $500,000 in terms of like wholesale fees and flips.
Sweet. All
My
right.
name is Dave Arlott. I started about 6 months after her, basically.
Yeah.
After college. After college, I worked full-time as a coach because I was a student athlete and sport was my passion. But she was really struggling with the flip she had going on and asked for my help. So I stopped by, I think, for a month or 2 weeks to a month, and I really saw the potential as well. So I kind of hopped on the bandwagon and joined the team.
Yeah.
Okay. What sport did you play? Student athlete. Basketball? Okay. Yeah, I'm horrible at basketball. I'm like, 5'10", grew up in the mountains. My son, he plays basketball, or he played basketball last year. This year it's all shut down, and he's not the most coordinated player, but he's big for a 7th grader. He's like 140 pounds, like muscular. He works out with me. So he got a lot of playing time, but he was not the shooter. They're like, pass the ball.
Exactly.
It's kind of funny. Okay, so you guys are younger. You guys just got out of college. I guess you're like early 20s, both of you?
24?
Yeah, so 24 and 25.
Okay, and so Arvi, we'll kind of start with you. Did you have a job or like a career before you kind of just jumped in real estate, or what gave you the idea to go this route?
So honestly, as I said, I was finishing up college, and since I was growing up, my thought was just to be in the corporate world. So that's the way I was going, and I probably applied to over 100 jobs. And while waiting for those, I decided that, maybe I should get my master's degree. So I started doing that. And then I didn't get any responses from those 100 applications that I did. So it was like a kind of hard knock reality type situations. And I talked to my dad about it. I was disappointed, what am I going to do? And they take time, the applications, everything's different and all that. So my dad was like, maybe look into real estate. I see people that are flipping and, making good money on it. So he was actually the one that pushed me towards this. And then since I started looking into it, I kind of stumbled upon a radio ad at that time for like a free real estate investing course, which was for a day. So I went to that one, and they, of course, they upsell you on another 3-day seminar.
You bought it.
Yeah.
Right. So I bought that. I think at the time was like $300, which for us was a lot of money, you know, right out of college.
Mm-hmm.
I was working part-time in the admissions office at my college. So, I mean, we weren't really, you know, well off or had full-time jobs. So we just kind of took a leap of faith from there and just kind of went all in real estate.
Okay, cool. So yeah, no, that's the college thing. Are you happy that you ended up going to college for all that time? Or are you kind of like, man, I wish I would have just started this real estate thing earlier?
So yes and no. I think, I mean, obviously college didn't prepare me for like anything in like the real world, as they called it there, or like for real estate, but it did give me some foundations in terms of like business qualities and types like skills. So I'm glad I went through that for that purpose. But did I have to pay so much money to do that? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has a benefit for that. I think one thing, like myself, I didn't really go to college. I went to the Navy right after high school, and then
Right.
into working on power lines, you know. So I think for me, the biggest thing is my communication skills. And
Right.
one thing you learn in college, you're around a lot of more people, and you're doing projects, or I don't even know what you do in college, you know. But you have to, obviously, master's degree, you have big things that you're working on and talking and teaching other people. So that probably helps a lot for
Right.
you know,
It helps
interacting.
a lot, but like you said, I mean, I could have learned it, you know, either doing business or something else if I wasn't paying, you know, 4 years of college.
Yeah, that's okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
What about you, Dave? Did you have any idea about real estate, or is it just because you met Arvi here and she's like, hey, by the way, this is what we're going to do?
First off, I went to college mainly for sports. I'm just being honest. I think a lot of athletes go to college. It was completely paid for. So the degree was definitely a plus for me. My dream was always to become a professional basketball player. I had some tryouts that I was invited to after college, but I decided to go the coaching route because that was a more stable route. But I soon figured out that the coaching route was not really paying the bills like I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she mentioned that she might need some help when it comes to the flipping side, and I took the opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, coaching seems like it's you know, it's kind of like an athlete, right? It's like you can only go so far, as most athletes go so far, and it's only the top percent. You know, if you get to be like a big D1 basketball coach, yeah, you're probably gonna make a lot of money, or a professional coach. But other than that, it's struggling. My niece was a professional soccer player after Virginia Tech, and she only ended up playing for 1 year because like the money just wasn't really there. You know, and she got a good job, Amazon, and kind of went that route. So I understand what you're saying with that. So Arvi, your first deal when you brought Dave in, you were doing a flip, is what you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So how did you find that first deal? You're in college, you're working there at admin. Your dad says, hey, why don't you try this real estate thing? So you just went out and bought a house on the MLS, or what'd you do?
Yeah, so before I even bought the house, you know, I was kind of doing my research phase, and I did that about 8 months where I was just trying to learn everything I could in terms of the flipping process and rehabbing and all that stuff. And I decided to take action. You know, I went through the MLS. At that time, I really didn't know that much, you know, to go and direct the seller anyways, and didn't know anything about closing process or, you know, whatsoever. So I thought, okay, having an agent is going to help me navigate through that, at least for the first one. So that's how I found it, with an agent through the MLS. It was quite a big project, which I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, because the house itself like was okay shape, you know, I just needed cosmetics. However, the foundation was really, really bad shape. And I ended up actually replacing two of the biggest walls on the foundation, which were like 35 feet wide and 8 feet high. So it turned out to be quite a project, but after being done with that, it was like, all right, now I can do anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you have inspections and everything beforehand that told you that this was an issue?
So I did know there was an issue. I just didn't know how much it was gonna cost. I just thought, you know, being like, I'm like to jump at opportunities when they come and not let them get away. So I was like, you know what? I'll just figure it out as I do it.
It was in this inspection report, but
Yeah.
I think we just didn't understand the terms that they
Right,
were
that too.
using about the walls. They mentioned all these different types of cracks that were in the walls, and
Right.
they're a crack. You know, we can fix that. That's no
Right.
problem.
Yeah.
Soon come to realize that we have to replace all the walls,
walls,
replace the drain tile inside, replace the drain tile outside. So
Yeah.
it was intensive.
But kind of good, right? Because like, what's that saying? Like, ignorance is bliss. Because if you
Yeah.
guys would have known all that, you might not have done the deal. And if you didn't do that first deal, who knows? You might still be looking for that first deal. You don't even. But you got in there, you did the deal. You kind of learned a bunch along the way,
Yeah.
and it ended up working out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Definitely didn't wait on the perfect opportunity. A
Yeah.
lot of people do a lot of analysis paralysis and wait for like the perfect opportunity.
Or the perfect house.
It's not going
Mhm.
to happen. That's our opinion. You just have to grab one, go with it, and if you make money, you make money. If you lose some money, the lessons you learn, that's no price tag on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just listening to a good Ed Milet was on Bigger Pockets, and I think it was on this episode. He said something like, you know, don't be afraid to fail. Just make sure, you should make sure that failure isn't going to crush you.
Right.
Like a lot of people get all amped up and they just want to go right into like huge multifamilies instead of single family houses or whatever, which is great because the upside's way better. But the downside's way larger as well. You know what I
Right.
mean? So did you guys end up making money on that property, or did you break even, or how'd it go?
Yeah, definitely not making money on that first one, but we broke even minimally, which is what we were happy about after, the whole
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah. Did you guys just get conventional financing, or did you borrow a bunch of the money? How did you fund it?
Yeah, so we funded it through private lenders. Honestly, it was just 100% private lending. Like
Okay.
we mentioned, we didn't really have a lot of money to start
Mhm.
out with, so it was just kind of finding the right people and trusting in us.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So since you kind of lost some money, did you have to pay, like give the lenders, like pay them a loss, or was it just like you didn't make money?
So when it was all said and done, I think it was like $5 or so that we were under, so it wasn't like a huge expense
Okay.
for ourselves, thank God. But thankfully, we were able to cover all the private
Yeah.
lenders and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good. So yeah, I mean, you lost in your time, but you gained in so much experience. And this was only in 2018.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we bought it in like December of 2018,
Mhm.
so everything happened in like 2019.
Okay, so that's kind of a good point, right? Is because 2019 you were doing all this work that feels like just yesterday, but now we're in 2021. There's so many people that haven't been doing any real estate for at least 19, probably more years than that, because it's at the top of the market and stuff. But you guys still happen to find
Yeah.
something to do, and you're not so concerned with like a instant market crash, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, when I first started looking for that first property, all the investors I met, they were like, this is a hot market. You're not going to find anything. You're not going to make any money, this and that. So there's a lot of people out there that have that mindset of like, it's just hot market. You're not going to find any good deals. So they just grab on to what they can instead of trying to make themselves opportunities.
Yeah, and you found this with an agent, which again, I wanted to touch on that real quick, is that the going direct to seller thing is so popular, right? Everybody does it. Like you're doing it, I'm doing it. Everybody is trying to go direct to seller. But if you're brand new, I think it is good to go through an agent. I bought my first probably 12 properties that I bought, and they were all through agents,
Yeah.
and it was great because it's a good learning experience. Like you said, they walk you through, they help you with the process, like go to title, help you with your lender, like all the steps. I think using the agent is just as good as going direct to seller a lot of times. So
Even if you end up not even using the agent, like a lot of people reach out to us and say, I want to go direct to seller, but they haven't even put offers in a regular house on MLS. Like that process alone of putting in offers, going through that whole process. If you're getting the house, it fails inspection. That whole process is very important, and you definitely get that with an agent.
yeah, and just looking at the houses, the agent's like a good just key to get out there and just like go look at houses. It's like your free insight into all these different properties, which is great. Okay, cool. So that first deal, like good learning experience, didn't make a ton of money. And then after that, this is like mid 2019, I assume. Like how much longer was it to your next deal? And then I know you guys said that last year you did 500,000 gross.
Mhm.
What was like the process, like the steps that got you to
Yeah.
start doing that new business?
Yeah, so after I got that first one, and actually when I was in the process of like finishing up and selling it, again, I went through the same agent and we found a second property that we flipped. And then from there, we found a third one, which we actually ended up house hacking that third property when we turned into a duplex and all. So my first year technically was like 3 properties just off the MLS, and they were extensive rehabs as well, but I mean, it ended up working great for us. And then from there, at the end of 2020, or I'm sorry, 19, we moved to Nashville, which was actually January 1st even. It was January 1st. That's when we decided, all right, we're gonna strap down, go direct to seller, invest our money that we made into marketing, and just basically start creating our own opportunities and negotiate better deals as well, because obviously on the MLS, you're not going to have the same profit margins. So that's what we did. We started going direct to seller. We started, spending money on direct mail, being consistent with everything. And then surprisingly, it starts working when you're consistent and focused.
We start turning it from a hobby into like a money-making business, as we mentioned.
Right. Okay. Real quick, I wanted to take a step back on, you did those first deals in Buffalo or up in upstate New York, right?
Yep.
Then you moved down to Tennessee. Now, was your hard money lender like a local hard money lender, or was it a national person, or what was that?
It was actually a local hard money lender in Buffalo, but we still use him today because he trusted us from back then, and we did great with him. So now he lends us, here in Nashville as well.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to touch on that. So you kind of get into the direct to seller thing. Did you just start doing it on your own at first, or did you get right into a group or somebody that was helping you with that, or how did you get started in the direct to seller?
Yeah, so I think it's super important. Actually, one of my big mindset like shifts when I first started was, trying to do everything ourselves. Dave was doing all of our rehabs, and we were kind of fed up with it. It wasn't something that we could scale. So for us, it was super important to get like a good mentor that could guide us through the process. That they have been where we were, and they have scaled the business from where we were. So that's what we did. We found a mentor, and pretty much they just helped us scale from there. Kind of gave us the right systems and things to do. But all the hard work was on us. So he gave us the systems he uses, but if we didn't do the work, it wasn't going to happen.
Right. Okay. How did you find that mentor, and who is it? Do you still use the same person, or?
Yeah, so I actually heard them on Bigger Pockets episode. It's Ryan Dawsey. And just from there, I mean, I really related to his story, and it felt like he had gone through the same thing I had. Yeah. So just from there, kind of reached out to him, started following him a little bit on like Instagram and social media and things like that. And just ended up going for it. And yeah, I still use them today.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And as a lot of listeners know, I'm in Ryan's group as well. And it's not like a sales pitch for him, but for anybody looking for a mentor. And I'm sure you guys would agree. It's like so many of them out there, they're so salesy, like sales pitchy. It's kind of like, they'll sell their program on being mentored by them, but then you get in there and you don't really have any contact with them. You're kind of working with, people that they've hired to work with people. And then it's like, oh, and then you can buy this program and you can buy this program. It's like, dude, like, it's not what I want, So I'm sure the same with you guys is Ryan kind of attracted me to him because he's so accessible, to everybody in the group. You can ask him personally any questions, and there's no like upselling. If anything, it saves you money because he has discounts on all these other programs, right? Is that what you guys feel as well?
Absolutely. And Dave actually says something all the time. He's like, it doesn't matter who your mentor is, just make sure you relate to them. And want to finish?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, and people ask me about mentorships and
why spend money?
Why spend money? And I encourage it. If you have the money to spend on a mentor, please do, but make sure you pick the right mentor. And usually it's around somebody you can relate to. If you see yourself being like him, or you see yourself running your business the way he does, then it's a good fit. Don't just go and fall for any mentor because they're making a lot of money, or you need to see some type of how you call it.
I won't say like proof, but just kind of like we said, kind of follow them around for a little bit, make sure they're doing what you want to do and things of that nature.
Yeah, for sure. Not just driving the car you guys want to drive someday, Because a lot of them, you can go lease the Lambo for like 1,800
Right.
bucks a month. It's like not that hard, you know. I tell my son all the time, I'm like, you know, we see these people around and they got nice cars or these balling houses, and I'm like, I could go buy that house or I could go buy that car, but then I won't be able to do all this other stuff that I'm doing at the same time, you know. So just because you have it doesn't mean you're there yet. But okay, back to the deals. Sorry, I was like sidetracked. So how are you guys finding how are you guys getting in contact with the sellers? Are you guys just mailing, cold calling, texting? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so right now our main sources have been direct mail, Google ads, and Facebook ads. This year, actually, we're looking to get into cold calling, which we tried a little bit on our own in the beginning, but it wasn't definitely it's not a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like every investor should try it out
Mm-hmm.
because it really helps you in communication skills with talking to sellers. But yeah, we're trying to add that to our list of marketing for this year, but we're gonna hire it out. We're not gonna do it ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. I just hired a cold caller this week, actually. I think we're in the first or second week of January. So he kind of just got started on Monday. And
Yep.
I've done a little bit of cold calling like you guys, and it's a nightmare. I've maybe called like 1,000 1,000 people and
Right.
just under 1,000. And I hated it. I'm horrible at it. I like don't like confrontation, you know. I don't like people yelling at me because I either like get nervous or I just like snap on them and then yell back.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I found a cold caller on Upwork. I interviewed a bunch of them, settled on one that's really good. It's been doing it for a couple of years, so that's definitely beneficial. How are you guys planning on finding help? Like, how do you find your admin, VA, cold caller, stuff like that?
So honestly, we kind of go through the same thing you said with Fiverr. There's some competitors that they're Fiverr, so we just kind of look into those. And like you said, we try to make sure they have some experience, so whether it's just basic cold calling or real estate investing cold calling, because there's differences in those.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to have some experience and make sure, listen to some recordings and things like that too. But
Yeah.
same thing for VAs, we go through those sites.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I had them send me if they had it like an audio clip or a video clip of them, you
Yeah.
know, and it's funny how many of them was like, oh no, I don't have it. And they're not like saying, let me make you one. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you and I'm probably going to bonus you too if you guys are if I'm closing deals, right? So you can make a lot of money, especially if I'm paying you $7 an hour. I might pay you 200, 300, $400 a deal. And so the one I chose, he like recorded like a video clip of himself and like sent it, and like we got on the phone and we did scripting back and forth and everything, so he like showed the effort to do extra, which is great.
That's the people you're looking for, like they go a little bit above what everybody else is.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you guys are mailing right now. You're doing your pay-per-click, Google ads. For the mailing, how are you guys pulling lists? Are you guys just going onto PropStream or ListSource, or are you guys getting county data, niche lists? Like what kind of lists are the most beneficial?
So honestly, we do a mixture of those of what you just mentioned, which is PropStream, ListSource, and county records. And just kind of go from there. Honestly, we pull the county records every month, send those out obviously on direct mail. We mostly use, I would say, PropStream instead of ListSource. I go to ListSource for some more specific niche lists, just because I think they're better on there. But yeah, I mean, it's just a mixture of those.
Okay. Now, do you have to actually go into your county to get records, or can you pull your county information online?
So no, I can actually pull it online. However, they do make it because it's a PDF record, so they make it download it, open it up to find for every single record. So I actually have a VA doing this for me. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think everybody should do county records.
Okay. Can you give kind of a list? What is the county records you're looking for? Like, what are the different things that you can pull on there?
Yeah, so each market is different, so it depends on what market you're in. But in my market, I can pull people that have filed for divorce, judgments against people, list pendants. I can pull. Trying to think now. Sorry.
Watershed?
No, that's a different list. Honestly, anything that kind of screams like they might be motivated to sell, like bankruptcy is one of them as well. I think those are the main ones.
Maybe
Yeah.
probate and power of attorney.
Oh, actually, we cannot pull probates here, and power of attorney we don't pull it because they recorded the day out or when the seller is already done. So it doesn't work for my market. So you gotta, that's why I said you gotta be careful in different markets.
Okay.
The list you pull, but it's a great list to pull if they record it before they actually sell.
So the power of attorney is recorded after the close of the property that they're having a power of attorney.
Right. So online is whenever you pull the power of attorney, it's, the document up top and the sale at the bottom that they already did it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Here for mine, it's just, just like, in case, like this is power of attorney, and then any property that's associated with it is, 123 Main Street.
Right.
But like here in Idaho, we can't pull divorce lists, right? There's
Right.
divorce is confidential for 50 years.
Yeah.
So I could pull divorce, but it's 50 years old. So it's probably not going to help me.
Yeah. So that's why I said, like, just make sure that, kind of research your county and see what they can pull. But that, and we have also tax liens, which is great for us because those are, motivated sellers as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could probably go off on all kinds of specifics about like exactly what to do and step by step. But I think I've gone over that before, and people can definitely reach out to you guys. I mean, you guys have a YouTube channel and stuff, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay. But I did want to touch on, in our group that we're a part of, you guys mentioned this deal that you got not too long ago.
Yeah.
This is kind of a crazy deal. Can you kind of go over it and tell us what was it, how it went down, and then what'd you make on it?
Absolutely. So this was actually a Google lead. The seller reached out to us first, and we're based in Nashville, but she was in this market that city or town, whatever, that I've never heard of around here, which was 3 hours away. And we didn't have like the opportunity to go see the property, so it's already a little bit like scary for us.
Yeah, we almost backed out the deal,
Right.
to be honest. But I think that initially, you guys made the offer.
Right. So she came in, it was this like 30 acres of farm with a 4,000 square foot house on it, which there was no homes whatsoever in the area because all the other properties were selling for like 10 to 20,000, dirt cheap.
Wait, so you guys weren't able to see the property, and it was because it was far away?
Yeah, it's completely virtual because she wanted to sell within, I think, 5 days.
Yeah, she wanted to close in 5 days. She was in a super hurry because she was like in some really bad position with divorce and her kids, so she needed money like now. And she bought it, I guess, for 180 like 10 years ago when she bought it, and then we offered her 180 to be kind of like very conservative, because we talked to some realtors and they were like, you can get probably like 300, and if it was like fully fixed and updated, in the 400,000 range.
On 30 acres, huh? That's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we got it at like 180, and then we decided to do a full-on inspection with, an inspector. He brought us like a, 80-page report of all the issues that the house had. And
we were about to drop it. At this point, we were about to drop it. I encouraged for the inspector because I saw the potential. There were a lot of ifs when it comes to this project, when it comes to this house, because she was getting a divorce. We were talking to the title company, and the title company is telling us the divorce is not final, so she can't sell the house.
Right.
So with a lot of different things that were kind of making
so there's some things going on where we're like, maybe we should back out and like be safe. But we called the lady actually, and we said, listen, the report came back really bad, like it's too far from us and this and that. And she was like, what if I sell it to you for 100? I just really need that money.
It was like
$80,000 drop on her side. So I was like, let me talk to my partner real quick and I'll get right back at you. So we talked, and then we actually talked to our title company as well. And we're like, listen, we need to make sure that the title comes back clear, and we want insurance, which we get it on all of our houses. But I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but double check everything on this one. So they did, came back clear. And I was like, Dave, what are we going to do? Are we going to take the risk on this one? And we just decided to do it. And like I said, we closed like 3 days later because she was like in a super hurry. And then we just turned around and listed it on the market like a week later.
Just as is, no repairs to it, nothing.
No repairs, we just listed it as is. Within like the first couple of days, we got like 4 offers, I think. We listed it for 285. We got some offers. We ended up going with one for 265. And during the inspection report, they just wanted us to fix like a couple little details of like the HVAC and I don't even know, like
It was the HVAC mainly.
I think it was, yeah, and then there being like $3,000 in inspection, fixes. So we ended up closing at 265 actually on Monday. So it just happened like the actual closing, and we ended up netting about 135 on this deal.
Dang.
135,000.
What a deal. That's freaking awesome. Good thing she came down that 80 grand though. Cause I mean, it still would have been good, right? You would have still
Right.
netted, 55 grand, which is
Right.
amazing, but 135 grand. So
It's way better.
in what total probably 2 or 3 days worth of work. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe 20 hours worth of work into it.
To us, that's the funny part. If
Right.
he came to us, he reached out to us first.
And she reached out to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Off of a Google ad. So that was like a pay-per-click ad that you guys had, or was it like your ad at the top of the page or what?
Yeah, it was just a Google ad. Honestly, I don't do the ads myself, so I'm not sure how they rank or anything, but yeah, she just found us online.
Okay. And then what was it that the title company said, because she's not fully divorced yet, so she couldn't even sell it. How did that get sorted out?
Her lawyer, she was about to go to court, from my understanding, and her lawyer reached out to the title company, telling them,
Pushing
the
closing.
title company, like, hey, we need to close. So the title company was kind of iffy, like, why is this lawyer reaching out to us?
Mm-hmm.
Usually they just deal with the homeowners. And she was going to court, and the lawyer was telling her, the title company, that we need to go to court. So that kind of, like, is the divorce final? So they pulled the records and it was final.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. So 135 grand. What a good deal. What lessons did you guys learn on that?
So honestly, our biggest thing was, we took a bit of risk and we were almost about to drop out. So one of the things for us was like, in a market we don't know anything, or there was no comps or stuff like that. So just like to be open to opportunities is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you take a little bit of risk, but then also, you can take a big reward out of it. Obviously always be cautious and make sure you kind of cross your T's and dot your I's, but just be open to opportunities.
Yeah. Definitely, this is not the perfect house. This is not the perfect opportunity
Right.
that was just laying in front of us. Like, we have to actually work a little bit for us and take some risks. So as I mentioned before, if you're trying to get into real estate or you're trying to get some deals done, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. And so who did you guys call, like some local realtors to like kind of give you an idea what the price was beforehand?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
And honestly, it was so hard because it was such a tiny town that all the realtors were from like the city surrounding it, and they were like, no, we don't work there. No, we don't work there. So
we had an inspection done, and the potential buyers were getting inspection done as well. And the inspector called us like, hey, can I just share the report with the buyers?
Right, so like one inspector that everybody
the whole time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, and then what was the downside? What would have been the downside on it? Like 100 grand for a house. What do you guys think about that? Because if I think about it, I'm like 100 grand. It's on 30 acres. It's a big house. What's like the downside? What could you have lost?
Well, obviously we would have lost that 100 grand, which a part of it was actually hard money as well. But I think because we talked about, all different scenarios, like we said, we were kind of scared of the risk. And we said, you know what, worst case scenario, we're going to end up fixing it up and just sell it on the market. We knew the comps were good. I mean, like you said, it's 30 acres, a 4,000 square foot farm. Like it's going to sell for at least what we bought it for. And we felt like even the land itself was just worth 100,000.
Yeah.
So we're like, worst case scenario, we're going to break even on this and just like move on.
Mm-hmm.
But ended up being
yeah, and that's what I wanted you guys to say is that even at the worst case there, because you guys got it at such a good price, it's like again, it might have been like your first deal where you didn't really make any money, but the probability to make a bunch of money was like astronomically higher than the chances of like losing money or breaking even on that deal. So that's awesome. Congratulations on that, guys. That's great. Okay, so what is the plan? What is like the plan for the future on this? Are you guys just do you just want to stay in wholesaling and flipping, or are you doing it for like a greater reason to build rental properties and stuff like that?
Yeah, so for this year, actually, when we set our goals, last year we weren't like so much bankable. And, our main focus was, all right, we're going to build as much capital as we can to kind of double on marketing and also be able to be bankable and get more rentals. So this year, one of our main focus is to try and get a lot of rentals and add them to our portfolio. But we also want to do a lot of wholesaling and flipping as well. So we have like a huge goal of doing like 80 deals this year.
Dang.
And we're working towards, making sure that happens. But even if we fall a little bit short of that, we're not going to be too mad.
Yeah, 80 would be sweet. What's your guys' average profit per deal?
And wholesale deals is at 13,000, and then on flips is like 30 to 40, depending on the flip. If you don't count this one,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's where you guys are headed. I'm excited to see. Maybe I'll have you back at the same time next year and be like, you guys better hit that 80. I'll be expecting you guys to say, yeah, we did 112, and I'm like, dang, it's good. All right. So here's a couple of questions at the end, just to kind of get people's mind thinking. What's some program or software that you guys use in your business that kind of really helps keep everything organized?
So one thing that I really swear by is Resimply, which we have all of our leads on there. It's a great software to not only manage your leads, but honestly, just it's got so many things integrated in there that I probably don't have time to list all of them, but it's great software. I definitely suggest you at least look into it and see what it can do for your business.
And Recently and PropStream, definitely highly recommend that. Putting lists is so easy off that, and it's also detailed.
Okay, Resimply is just like RESIMPLI, right? Resimply.
Yeah.
RE Simply. And then PropStream is just PropStream, and PropStream is like a searching tool, right? To search for search properties and data on properties and all that stuff.
You can even do comp switch in a lot of markets. It's directly related to the MLS, so you pull like real-time comps if you don't have an agent. So it's super awesome as well.
Okay, cool. And then you kind of touched on it earlier, but mentorship, highly recommend, or when should somebody get a mentor?
Definitely highly recommend, but I'd also say, make sure the timing for you is right. Obviously, there's some type of financial like cost to it. So you also got to, work for it a little bit, but definitely highly recommend if you can afford it. For us, it tripled or quadrupled our business in 1 year just from like a mentorship. So, I mean, definitely recommend it if you can.
Cool. Yeah. And you have to be at a point where you're ready to like take it seriously. So
right. Exactly.
A great mentor can be, you could walk away thinking, oh, that was a big waste of money if you're not like at a point to really utilize the service. Right. And a horrible mentor could end up being pretty good because you're like, you're probably going to succeed anyways, I would imagine.
So, I mean, same, like if we would have done a mentor our first year, it probably wouldn't have been as successful as, our second year.
Yeah. Okay, right on. Well, where can people find out more about both of you guys and your YouTube channel and things like that?
Yeah, you can just connect with us on Instagram. Mine is arvi.karkanji, which is CARKANGI.
And mine is dave.arlaud. You can also find us on our website, is the moneymakingduo.com. And also we have a couple of links in our bios for a bunch of free content that we give out, free resources that we give out.
Okay, the money making duo. I dig that. That's cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I'll look forward to seeing you guys with 112 deals next year. So I'm going to write that down. And thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Just a second.